we have our keynote presenter, Ms. Nazemoff. She really made every effort to come here with us from the US. She is the Senior Vice President and co-owner of a famous company, Acolyst. Acolyst. And at the same time, she is consultant at the White House at the Executive Office of the President of the United States. She has been featured in so many magazines and TV programs at the Fast Company, Inc. magazine, Entrepreneur Success, HuffPost, New York Post, you name it. She has been she is very well known presenter in the US, and she has very successful books in organizational transformation and how to move organizations in the digital age and meet all the challenges. I am extremely pleased and happy to have Ms. Nazemoff here with us, and I thank her so much for taking all the effort to be with us here today and to share with your group the latest research and what's happening in the world. The floor is yours.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. I am truly, truly grateful to being here. Thank you, Dr. Suleiman. I really appreciate it. I've learned so much from your presentations. Unfortunately, I can't jump from room to room, but thank you. And thank you for having me. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. I'm really impressed. As somebody who's authored 2 best-selling books, I understand what it takes to publish and journal and review and editing and all of that. So what you do is truly, truly commendable, and to bring all of these wonderful different cultures and diversity here is just outstanding. So, and I can't wait till it continues to blossom and grow. I have a quote that I do want to read it's very short, but it's something that I live by every day, and it has contributed to the research that I do, the contents that I write about, and the consulting work that I do for my clients. She passed away, but it's by Maya Angelou. I don't know if anybody has heard of her. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did. But people will never forget how you made them feel. And this is so very, 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 very true, especially in the business world. I was going to time myself, but just let me know. It's so, so, so true. Now, we do talk about transformation. We talk about emotional intelligence, right? And everybody's heard of emotional intelligence, and everyone has talked about trust and fear and sincerity and authenticity and all of these key words, buzzwords. But what does it really mean? What does it mean? What does it mean to trust someone? What does it mean to be authentic? What does it mean to connect with people? So during this research process of mine, as I'm consulting at companies, there's always a disconnect. You talk about communication, you talk about connecting, you talk about collaborating, but people are really not there. There's a problem. So about greater than 60%, I would say about 80% of the majority of issues within businesses has something to do with communication. Can we all agree to that?
Yes.
Because throughout this conference, I've heard communication, change management, right? Culture, and I'm not talking about culture as in diversity that we're here today, but I'm talking about the culture of the organization. So it starts with the internal organization of the company, of the business. And it doesn't actually matter if you're small, medium, large, enterprise. The beauty of my world is I am a small company, but I work with very major, big organizations. So I'm able to talk from different experiences that I have and bring all of that to you guys together. So how do you do it? How do you connect with people? How do you get people to feel? How can you as an individual feel, right? So let's go back to the quote for a second. You can't, people will forget what you said, right? So as I'm done here today, you're going to forget everything I've said. I promise you that, right? So as employees, as you guys are doing research on businesses, right? You are researching maybe managers, leaders, collaborative employees, all of these folks. What I want to do is bring an example of a manager. So a manager thinks that, okay, if I am to motivate, what I want to do is I want to motivate them by saying things, right? Saying things like, good job, great, you're doing good, keep going. So I'm going to keep saying things. It'll work for about 4 days, a week, but then it doesn't work anymore. So you think that you got to keep saying, okay, so you sit there and you're like, okay, what do? So I need to do something. People will forget what you do. So what do? Managers or leaders, maybe I should give them more money. Maybe I should create more wellness programs. Maybe I should do this. That'll work. After they get their big bonus check, and then they want more. And then, okay, how am I going to compensate more? But as we all can experience, and as many of us have researched, that decline goes down after a while, or it goes back to the way it was. Am I right? Can everybody agree to what I have to say about people will forget what you do? Yes. I'm sorry, first one, say, and then do. Yes. But I have to say, what society is kind of portraying as an issue with millennials being connected with meaning and purpose is actually the way it should be. Because what the millennials are trying to push, and maybe as researchers, we kind of need to help support them, because what society shows as weaknesses for them is actually a strength that our society needs to bring things together. So if we were to look at the strength of the shift that the market is trying to send us a message saying, it's not about what you say, it's not about what you do, but how are you making me feel? So if we do research on millennials, we will find that many times the millennials will look for opportunities within companies that are doing things that are meaningful. But there's an issue there too. What is that? The issue is many companies, especially the larger ones, will turn around and say, yes, this is the mission, this is the purpose, this is the vision of my company. And so are you with me? But they're missing the boat. They need to turn around and say, me as the company, what can I do for you? What can I do to make you feel whatever your purpose is for me to help you by feelings? Is everybody with me so far? So instead of that one way where we are contributing to the purpose and the meaning of the companies and the businesses, it needs to be a communicative effort. So now going back to how do we solve, how do we make somebody feel? First, we start with ourselves. Then we are able to understand, once we know what it feels like, how we can work with other people. What does making a commitment, make a commitment can do it. What does commitment mean? What does it mean? Does anybody feel what commitment means? What about letting go? Has everybody heard of letting go? Let go. Okay, what does that feel like? What does letting go feel like? What about, I've got your back. Go for it. I got you. What does that feel like? What does that really, really, really feel like? So many times, businesses will bring a coach to do some teamwork type of activities, right? And what ends up happening, that teamwork, that sport, that going out doing the walking meditation or, doing some sport activities or putting puzzle pieces together, that'll work for a week, 2 weeks, and then things go back to the way it was. Can we all agree to that? Yes? Okay. Thank you. So, I've done a lot of research, and I've actually applied it, and I've tested it, and it kind of works in a way. But there's more to be done, and that's where I would love to include those that are interested in to connect with me. So there's this thing called feeling it. So what kind of a sport activity could we connect with someone else to feel? And I've used partnership dancing. Of all things, that is very disruptive, innovative, and everybody's puzzle. Everybody in the market is like, what? And then it makes sense. If I am to dance with someone, as an example, if I do not commit to that movement right then and there, I'm going to fall, and my partner is going to fall. And that is how I get to feel what making a commitment to that movement, otherwise we're going to fall, feels like. When I am moving and someone literally has my back and I'm moving and I know my partner's got me, that's what it feels like. And that's what it should feel like in business. That someone's got my back, I'm not going to fall. And then letting go. You have to let go to make the movement. Otherwise, if you're controlling, you're not going to be able to move. Right? I know, it sounds funny, right? It sounds so crazy, but it actually works. And that's the beauty of it. But think about it. So then, when you are able to apply, and you're able to connect, and you're able to communicate with people in a non-verbal way, which is about, did you know about 70%? I'm sure there's some researchers that have done specifics on non-verbal communication, which is a very high number, right? I see some, yeah, it's a very, very, very high number. I want to bring some example. We are here in Seville, and people are asking where to go. I'm not from Spain, but flamenco shows. Please, if you can, go to a flamenco show, and I'll tell you why. The flamenco show, even though it's not connected, you will observe that the male or female flamenco dancer is the one communicating to the guitarist and the vocalist on what to do. And their communication between these guys is super amazing. And as an observer, because we're researchers, right? That's what we do. And as researchers, I want you to get out of your comfort zone and do something very disruptive and have a very open mind and think about the possibilities that maybe I know I am on the right track because I've done this, right? So the other thing is, this week is CCAB in Seville, Spain, a little bit outside, which is about the horses, the Andalusian horse. I do recommend to at least go see the show. What was very interesting for me, because I went to a show last night, what was very interesting for me is the communication, nonverbal, between the horse and those that are training them or riding them. I know they have specific names, and forgive me that I don't know what that is right now. But what was interesting is at the very beginning of the show, the trainers some of them would kind of whip the horse, kind of like give a little, which is what our manager does. You're not doing the metrics. You're not hitting the measures. So I'm going to punish you. I'm going to put some fear in you, right? That's a feeling. Am I right? They kind of like give you a little whip. But then, towards the end of the show, there was somebody who I would call a horse whisperer, who through compassion, through just connecting with the horse, through the energy, was able to get 4 horses to fake them sleeping while the dogs played and jumped on them. It was just breathtakingly amazing what a horse whisperer with no whip, nothing. So then you get to see how much compassion and connecting with people and collaborating has a lot to do with it. So throughout my research and throughout what I've been doing, these elements that I talk about and that I work on all ends up, if I was to bucket it, they all come back to love. These are all the elements of love. So if you were to break down communication, we have about 90% of our issues in the companies and business is communication issue in some form or fashion. But if we have the intention and the mindset and to shift and transform the way that we think in a very disruptive way, we could resolve it, because the layers of communication can be separated to connection, collaboration, coordination. There's a lot of C's. I've got about 9 C's. And then what happens? So the horse, I'll bring the horse example again, because that's easier to visualize. The horse and the human was kind of giving compassionate motions to the horse, and the horse was kneeling. I mean, doing amazing, amazing things. There was something called an energy transfer between the human and the horse. Anytime I walk up to somebody and I shake a hand, I have an intention. I have an intention of compassion, and that's transferring, right? So if I'm going to walk up to you, hi, how are you? I'm transferring some form of energy. Hello. Right? I want you to practice this. Hello. Do you feel that energy?
Of course.
Okay. Good. How are you? Do you feel this energy?
Yes.
Okay, good. Do you feel my energy?
Of course.
Yes? Good. So be conscious. Be very, very, very conscious of the energy that you're putting out there. Does this help? Because this, I don't care if you're doing digital transformation. I don't care. I have worked on some major, major projects. I was called by now the former CTO of United States Postal Service, the United States Postal Service is about a $66 billion organization, right? And they have more than 500,000 employees. And I get a phone call, no proposal, no submission. I get a phone call. We are behind 2 months on our project, and we need your help. I don't want to say dude, but dude, you have a Rolodex of contacts from major corporations. Why me? Right? So when I've had opportunities that I'm beyond grateful for to transform the mindsets and really truly work with different parts and different disciplines, What I'm sharing with you as researchers are bite-sized little things to really think about. People will not remember what you say or do, but they will remember how you made them feel. So as you're doing your research, the element of maybe this, or figure out if there's a way beyond the research, if there's something that you can connect with them on a feeling basis. Does this help? Lots? Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
By the way, hugging releases a neurochemical in the brain, which you can find in my book as well, called oxytocin. This is called love. It's called the love hormone. It really is.
Yes.
Okay? So thank you so much.
Thank you so much. This is one of the best keynote speeches we ever had at IBIMA. I was so touched by this presentation. The most important thing that she didn't have a PowerPoint slide. It was full of energy. Your message has really reached all of us. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Oh my gosh.
We have a small certificate here for you.
Thank you. Can we take a photo?
Yes.
Everybody get out your photos. Anybody taking a photo? Okay. And laughter is a good remedy.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for
Appreciate
having
it very
me.
much. Thank you. If you have any questions, the time is very short because of lunch, all her information will be on our websites. Her books are magnificent. I have read small excerpts of these books. Books are sold on Amazon. Great help for organizations in the US, and as you can see, she is currently a consultant at the White House for the US Presidency Office. Thank you so much again.